Let's bring in Sean Spicer. He's the Chief Strategist Communications Director for the Republican National Committee. Sean, thanks very much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Will. Thanks for having me.
So you think this was simply a get-to-know-each-other session between Senator Corker and Donald Trump, or you think there's more there as far as a potential running mate slot for Senator Corker?
Well, I'm going to take him at his word. I do think Mr. Trump's new at politics. I think for a lot of these individuals who've been in Washington leading different areas of policy within our party, this is an opportunity for them to get to know and talk to Mr. Trump about the policy direction that he wants to take this country, about the solutions he has for the country. And again, this is, as you and viewers will recall, we, up until a couple weeks ago, envisioned this race going well into June 7th. And so him wrapping this up earlier has allowed for those conversations to start to take place with a lot of individuals who are influential in the policy decisions of our party.
He seems to be going through, checking the boxes, as some people are saying, talking to establishment Republicans, whether Henry Kissinger or James Baker, both former secretaries of state, Senator Corker, for that matter, going to the National Rifle Association event the other day. He's trying, I guess his main goal right now is to unite the Republican Party. How's he doing?
Well, I think if you look at all the polls that are out there and the comments that are coming from leading Republicans, he's doing excellent. We are in a much better place than I think the other party when you look at the fracture and the divide that's existing over there. The more and more Republican leaders, those in fact who actually debated Donald Trump for the nomination, have come on board, called for the party to unite, to get behind. The recent polling that came out over this weekend strongly suggests it's the Republican Party that is united. And in fact, not just, which is good for the party, but overall, you're seeing that trend line for Donald Trump surge ahead of Hillary Clinton in the overall head-to-head. On the flip side, you're seeing Bernie Sanders and his team call for the resignation of DNC chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. You're seeing one of the leading candidates for their party come out and endorse her primary opponent, who just today announced that he raised $250,000 over the weekend on Sanders supports. Those are real divisions that exist in that party. Converse to our party, that I think we're heading in a much better direction as we head to our convention and to victory in November.
How worried are you about the third-party bid, the Libertarian Party? They're probably going to have two former Republican governors, Gary Johnson of New Mexico, William Weld as a vice presidential running mate, former Republican governor of Massachusetts. If they run this time around, how worried are you they will take away votes from the Republican nominee?
None. Zero. I mean, they have, just to put it into perspective, Debbie Wasserman Schultz's primary opponent raised more money this weekend than they've raised total. So I get it. It's a talking point. But each week we continue to have this iteration of what's wrong with the Republican Party. And yet more and more we're seeing the uniting of the party and the ability for us to move ahead and defeat Hillary Clinton. I think the media, frankly, wants a third party. They want to fight. They're not going to get it. There is no support for Governor Johnson or for Weld. They are basically, neither one of them, frankly, except, in terms of Bill Weld, he's not even a libertarian. I think he just wants to be on the ballot. But we're very united as a party. We're bringing in a lot of independents. And frankly, if you look at the latest polling, 17% of those Bernie Sanders supporters said that they'd vote for Mr. Trump. So I appreciate the intrigue about the Republican Party. I think the Democrats have a much, much more substantial problem that's really bearing out in the polls.
Yeah, I raised the question, Sean, because I remember back in 2000, you remember the state of Florida, Al Gore, George W. Bush. George W. Bush won by 500-plus votes in Florida. As a result, he eventually became president of the United States. But a third-party candidate, Ralph Nader, he had 90,000 votes in Florida, which a lot of experts believe a lot of those votes came from the Democrat. That would be Al Gore, and he caused the Republican, in effect, to become president. So that's why a third-party candidates, Libertarian candidates, Gary Johnson, William Weld, even if they don't get a lot of votes, they could be decisive in some key battleground states. You got to be worried potentially about that.
Well, I would if I thought that they had any sense of structure or organization. They don't. I think on the flip side, to your point about Nader, if the Sanders folks don't come together, which it looks like they're not, there's a lot of distrust and concern, not just for Hillary Clinton, but about how Bernie Sanders has been treated by the Democratic National Committee throughout this process. I would be more concerned if I were a Democrat about a wing of the Progressive Party or Green Party or whatever on the left kind of evolving into either staying home or putting someone like a Ralph Nader out on the ballot as a protest vote. So I'm very confident where we are as a party and where we're going to go moving forward. I think any Republican, any true conservative understands that the way to keep Hillary Clinton out of office is to stay united as a party, which we're seeing, as all the polls are showing, that it's coming together for us and not for them. So again, I don't spend any time thinking about this. I think we're pretty happy with how the party's moving forward, and the poll results speak for themselves.
Sean Spicer of the RNC, thanks very much.
Thanks, Wolf.
Coming up.